One of the biggest joys for me as a chess fan is to wake up every day at this grand chess tour and look at the pictures. Lennart Utes, who's there as the photographer, is one of the best in the world in chess photography. And with all these stars gathering there every day, you have some amazing images. And I'm going to share them, a few of them with you. This first one is Garry Kasparov coming to the game to make a move, and Magnus coming a bit late, so he was entering here. There is Garry. There's one of the main organizers of the event, Lukash, who's there. Such a nice picture this is. Let's look at one more. This is Magnus entering, and everyone's kind of ready with their cameras. I can only imagine the amount of pressure that Magnus would have felt at some point. Now he's got used to it. This is our good friend Anish Giri, who's there with his second and trainer Erwin Lamy. Beautiful picture there in the sort of the side hall where they were spending time in between the games. And now comes my favorite two pictures. Garry Kasparov, before making that first move in the game of Carlsen and Gukesh. What a great moment. I would say the past, present, and future of chess. And I think Garry was asking Magnus, which move should I make? And Magnus was like, you can make any move. And maybe Garry was asking, should I make something solid? And I think then he played knight f3. And here's another picture of him offering a handshake to Gukesh. And look at Magnus, the way he's staring at Gukesh. Very nice pictures. And this is another one of Garry with a nice knight there. Garry is the main inspiration behind the Grand Chess Tour. And I think he's always thought about many ways to popularize chess. And I think Grand Chess Tour is one of them. This is the beautiful playing hall there in Warsaw. You can see how the people are sitting on the stairs. Many people watching. It's a full house. Beautiful venue actually chosen. And then we have a very nice picture of Praggnanandhaa, who is, has this look on his face of what's happening. I like Pragg's many emotions. In fact, I had one more. If I can, let's see if I can pull it up here. Yes, look at this. Pragg in between his game of Arjun, he was like, calm down, let me think. Something like that. But the find of the event until now has been Wei. Such amazing play by him. And he's leading the tournament. Calm. He's like the silent assassin. And there's a very nice picture of him and Magnus. Magnus was completely winning against them, against Wei, and then later on botched up the win. So the standings right now look something like this. Wei on 20.5, 2.5 points ahead of Magnus, and 6 points ahead of the field. That is insane. Pragg is on 14.5, and then Arjun on 14. So it's like a fight for the third place, because first two is for sure Wei or Carlsen. And Carlsen has to like pick up pace in a big way today. Maybe beat Wei in their personal encounter. This will be fun to follow. But for now, the game that I wanted to take you through was between Praggnanandhaa and Magnus Carlsen. Because this is, while Pragg has beaten Magnus before in online chess, and also when they've played on computers. This is the first time over the board that Pragg managed to beat Magnus, and I want to show you this game. So Pragg with the white pieces opens with 1 e4, and Magnus goes for the Caro-Kann. You have d4, d5, takes. And this exchange variation of Caro-Kann is much more interesting than the French exchange. Just look at this. If it was French, by the way, which is also becoming quite mainline now, you will see the structure is very symmetrical. 2 pawns here, 3 pawns each, and so on. But when you play the exchange Caro-Kann, you will see that the structure is different. Black has a king side majority, white has a queen side majority, and so on. So bishop comes out to d3. Knight flows in, attacks the pawn on d4. Pawn comes up to c3. And now pawn to e6. This is slightly different way of playing. Actually, knight f6 is the main move to keep this bishop open, and then bishop f4. There is this line with bishop g4 it gets quite complex with white putting the queen here. But e6 just essentially says that I will develop this bishop later. I don't have any intentions right now and I want to put my bishop on d6. So Gukesh puts his bishop here, takes, knight comes out, knight e7, the castle. And conventional wisdom after rook e1, bishop d7 and knight d2 should say that white is better because his bishop is very well placed while the black bishop is not so active. But modern chess is not just about these things, it's about more concrete stuff, and f6 is a very nice move because you want to push your pawn to e5. So Pragg, I believe, was still in his preparation. By the way, you can see the times also today. 4 minutes 32 seconds for Pragg, 4 minutes 40 seconds for Magnus. And then b4 was played so that if e5, you can always push b5 and then win this pawn on e5. So he played the move b6 and white played the move a4. Very nice move here by Pragg, trying to expand on the queen side. You can see that black will try to put pressure on this backward pawn on c3. White will try to put pressure on the backward pawn e6. Magnus plays the rook here. Pragg gets his rook up. Bishop is transferred to a better square. Maybe if it can get out here or exchange itself, black would be happy. But Pragg instantly attacks this pawn. Puts the queen on e1 to keep the rook e2 square there. Bishop f7 played, and I think already black seems to be doing pretty well. a5 played, and now I like the next move, knight f5, attacking the rook. If you take here, pawn takes, this looks really good for black, this structure overall, and also this knight on f3 is not doing much. It can't move to the center of the board. So rook e2 played by Pragg, and now came the move knight e7. So the knights are moving nicely around. Pragg tries to go and trade one of the knights with on g3, also protects his pawn on c3. Queen moves back, he takes, knight comes out, and now the knight doesn't exchange, looking at this c4 weakness. Rook a6 played, attacking the pawn on b6, and now rook b8 played to defend the pawn. h4, very nice move, gaining space. Rook e8, and now comes the move rook a2. You can see how white is switching, trying to gain more space, using the a file. Knight f5 played, and now rook a7, attacking the queen. Rook to b7, and Pragg takes on f5. So if you take on a7, then I can take and attack and win this 2 pieces for a rook. So that's the reason why he played pawn takes, now attacking the queen. Rook a8, pinning the rook here, and after rook b8, Pragg played queen a1. You can see Pragg is down to 53 seconds. Magnus has 2 minutes 15 seconds. The position is round about even. Takes, queen takes, a check, and now the queen goes back to e8. White plays the move queen a7. The queen is pretty well positioned here, attacking the b6 pawn as well. And the queen comes back to d8. And now Pragg makes a nice move, knight d2. The knight is now moving to f1 to e3, maybe looking at these squares, because on f3 it was not having too much of potential. Knight came in, and I think maybe Magnus could have waited with something like h6, but here it gives a clear target to Pragg. He takes, and maybe d4 was a better move to keep the bishop open, but he took with the f pawn, and now Pragg played knight f1. His knight is coming to e3, his queen is active. He can create a passer here in the center. This is getting very, very dangerous. f5 played, and now g3, stopping the pawn, black pawn from coming forward. Played h6, queen b7. Here maybe knight e3 was good, but I think Pragg was a bit afraid of f4. although after takes, this position is clearly better for white as there are no perpetuals, you know, with the knight and pawn here. So queen b7, Magnus went g5. Maybe possible was to already think about f4, because now this position can get very, very interesting. Also h6 helps because now any check means that the king can just slide over to h7 square. In the game he played g5, pawn takes, knight came up, bishop e6, and now came queen c6, attacking the bishop and also keeping an eye on all the pawns. King f7, and here I thought, will Pragg play sort of check and maybe try for a draw, but not really. Pragg was very, very ambitious. He pushed the pawn. Very good move. With both players down to 10 seconds, using this fact that he has the pawn, queen, knight in the attack, he managed to outwit Magnus. Queen h6, queen f6. The position is still equal. Check. Now Magnus had to find queen g7. Not an easy move, but this would have been much better. Also, the endgame there is quite complex. But he went king e8, and now came another check, and came knight c4. And now d6 is a mate. So for example, g4, d6 is game over. So that's the reason why he had to play bishop b5, check, king b6, he took king d7, knight b6 check, king takes, check, took the bishop, and now took the pawn on f5. And in the ensuing endgame, this is actually an easy win because you move the queen, you start pushing your g pawn down the board. Pragg did it without too many hassles. He calmly brought his king up, slowly pushed it forward, and with the g pawn, he had no real trouble winning this game. And this led to Pragg's first over the board win against Magnus here. With g8 queen coming, Magnus resigned. So a good win for Pragg. I think a memorable one against Magnus, but clearly the tournament is going in Wei's way, and I will be joining you for the live commentary along with Amruta later today. For now, this is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.